The moment everything changed, a lesson in power and prejudice. The streets were quiet, bathed in the amber glow of the city's streetlights. Special Agent Vanessa Carter, one of the highest-ranking officials in the FBI, was making her way home after a long day. She preferred driving herself when she could. Do something about the solitude of the open road helped her unwind after the intensity of her job. But as she neared an intersection, red and blue lights flashed in her rearview mirror. Vanessa exhaled and pulled over, her mind racing through possibilities. No traffic violations. No erratic driving. So why was she being stopped? A police officer stepped out of his car, his posture rigid with authority. His name tag read Officer Thompson. As he approached, Vanessa noticed something unsettling: the way he walked, the way his hand hovered a little too close to his holster. She had seen this before. He knocked on her window. Vanessa rolled it down, keeping both hands in sight. "Good evening, officer." "Is there a problem?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. Thompson didn't answer her question. Instead, his eyes scanned her face, then her car. "License and registration." His tone was cold, almost rehearsed. Vanessa raised an eyebrow. "May I ask why I'm being pulled over?" A smirk tugged at the corner of Thompson's mouth. "You fit the description of someone we're looking for." Vanessa felt a familiar chill run through her. She had heard these words before, far too many times. And what description would that be, exactly? Thompson didn't answer. Instead, he took a step back and put his hand on his belt. Step out of the vehicle. A dangerous moment. One misstep, one wrong move, and this could escalate. Vanessa had spent her career training agents on de-escalation, on reading people. And right now, she was reading Thompson loud and clear. She took a slow breath. "Officer, unless you have a valid reason, I'd like to know why you're asking me to exit my car." His grip tightened. "I said, step out of the car." Silence stretched between them. Vanessa knew she had every right to refuse, but she also knew how quickly these situations could spiral. Carefully, she reached for her purse and stepped out. The moment she was out of the car, Thompson grabbed her arm. Too tight. Too forceful. "What are you doing in this neighborhood?" he demanded. Vanessa locked eyes with him. "I live here." Thompson scoffed. "Yeah? Doing what? You don't look like you belong." That was it. The assumption. The prejudice wrapped in authority. Vanessa exhaled slowly, reminding herself to stay composed. "Officer, I suggest you think carefully about what you're doing." Thompson laughed, a mocking sound. "Oh yeah? And why's that?" Without breaking eye contact, Vanessa reached into her bag. Slowly. Intentionally. And then, she pulled out her FBI badge and flipped it open. Chief of Operations. Federal Bureau of Investigation. The world around them seemed to pause. Thompson's smirk vanished instantly. His eyes darted between the badge and Vanessa's expression, realization crashing over him like a tidal wave. He took a small step back. His hands twitched. I didn't realize." "You didn't ask." Vanessa cut him off. "You assumed." The weight of the moment hung heavy in the air. Then, another patrol car pulled up behind them. Sergeant Davis, a senior officer, stepped out. The moment he saw Vanessa, his expression changed from confusion to pure shock. He hurried over. "Chief Carter, is everything all right?" Vanessa crossed her arms. "Not really." She turned to Thompson, who looked like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole. "Your officer decided to harass and detain me without cause. I'd like to know if this is standard procedure in your department." Davis's face hardened. He turned to Thompson. "You pulled over the FBI chief?" Thompson swallowed hard. I didn't know." "That's the problem." Vanessa's voice was sharp. "You never bothered to find out. You saw a black woman in a nice car and decided I didn't belong." A beat of silence. Then, Davis's expression darkened. "Hand over your badge and gun." Thompson's face drained of color. "Wait, sir." "Now." Davis's voice was ice. Thompson hesitated, but there was no way out. With shaking hands, he unbuckled his belt and placed his weapon and badge into Davis's outstretched hand. Vanessa watched, expression unreadable. It wasn't about power. It wasn't about revenge. It was about accountability. She looked at Davis. "I expect a full report on how your department handles situations like this." Davis nodded quickly. "Yes, ma'am. I sincerely apologize." Vanessa turned back to her car. Before getting in, she looked at Thompson one last time. "Next time, think before you act." Her words landed heavier than any punishment. Because this wasn't just about him, it was about every assumption, every unchecked bias, every moment where power was abused instead of used for good. She shut her door, started the engine, and drove away, leaving behind an officer who had just learned the hardest lesson of his life. This story isn't just about one traffic stop. It's about how we see each other, how we judge without knowing, and how power should be wielded responsibly. If this moment made you think, share it. Talk about it. Because real change starts with awareness.